You didn't save last year. Your emergency fund is nowhere to be found. You didn't sell as you expected. Everything wasn't according to plan. How can you do this year to take those past mistakes, neutralize whatever happened, and use it as your propeller for 2025? That's what we're going to talk about today.
This is the Brown Way to Money podcast, where women of color in business find their financial independence path. Because financial success is within our reach, but by playing by their rules, it is only going to take us halfway there. To succeed, we must take ownership of our voice with money. So, welcome to the Brown Way to Money podcast. But before we start, very quick, what an extra $500 will do for you or for your business this month? Well, maybe that is for payroll, to get that social media strategy, or to simply go and relax this month, take a massage, whatever it is. You could be the receiver of one of the micrograms we give here at the Brown Way to Money. If you want to have a chance to be the receiver of these micrograms, then pay attention to the secret word on this episode. And then go to brownwaytomoney.com and submit your application.
I've been over in vacation for the last 2-3 weeks. So this episode is coming a little bit late or just in time. Because here's the thing, many people is making financial resolutions, financial goals, everything during January. And by the time that February comes, everything is forgotten and you start going into the subconscious patterns. At least that is what happens to me. Not with financial goals, because that's something that with time you learn how to master and you learn to recognize your own patterns, but with fitness goals, with couple goals, with everything goals that you set up on January. So I want to dive into what am I doing to take those past mistakes from 2024 and really use them to leverage my game in 2025. This is important as a woman of color because we tend to have a life that doesn't stop, right? Every single day, every single time you have something to do. You have ideas, you have a business, you have family. It's like going. And I really saw that playing out like an outsider. I know that for my life, this is how it is. But I saw it as an outsider for my family and the people that I work with during these vacations because I consciously stopped everything, even though there is a lot happening that I'm going to fill you in later. But I stopped everything and I saw how people just continue, right? That's the rhythm that they have. Now, it is important when it comes to the psychology of money. And for me as a business owner, it's important to learn or extract more than learn, extract the lessons that I got from last year according to what I said I wanted to and how it played out, and take those things and infuse them in 2025. So one, I become aware of what is going to happen. And second, I start being mindful or even more mindful of where I want to go with my money. The goal is one and one only, being financial independent as a woman of color with my business, right? That's your goal. That's my goal. That is everybody's goal that is in this podcast. And part of that is to be able to extract whatever happened, understand them, see it, whatever is the word that you want to put, and then take that into the new year and into the steps that you want to take in the future. That's what I'm going to walk today on the 3 different, let's call it mistakes that I've made in 2024 and how am I transforming them and infuse them in my 2025 strategy. I strongly suggest if you want to do this with your own, just look at the process that I'm going through and look and think in your own situation how this played out. And then you will see by the end of 2025, you're going to be in a completely different space with the lessons that you have gathered along the way. So I'll tell you, I made 3 big mistakes, financially speaking, in 2024 with my business. Number 1, when I set up the goal of $1 million business, I was setting that goal for specific financial trauma reasons. I cleared a lot of my, what I call ambition, fear with that goal. That was spectacular for that. And this is something that the brand framework address a lot. And if you listen to the episode before of this, I walk you through the whole history on why, as a Black girl, as a woman of color, ambition is so important, and still we have so much trauma around it. But my $1 million business goal, it helped me to clear a lot of the financial trauma that I still carried by that time. Now, with that, it came one mistake. I didn't pay attention to the emotional triggers that will get me. I was all in to get to that one goal. But with that, it also came some emotional triggers. And those were my three mistakes. Based on those emotional triggers, I made three, no, not huge mistakes, but I get three things that I would like to do differently in the future in 2025. Number one is that the first one is that I'm going to be specific in my ROI. What is my return of investment? It cannot be, I wish. It cannot be, I'm hoping. It cannot be, I would like to see. I need numbers, time, people, everything to stick to my ROI. If I don't see a direct ROI, I'm not doing that. It doesn't matter how good it sounds. It doesn't matter how good I hope to be. If it doesn't have a direct ROI, it is not a money move for me to do. Now, I know this to be extremely effective for a fact, because when I'm doing consultancies, when I'm managing other people's money, when I'm managing other nonprofits' money, this is exactly how I manage it. But because it's my own business and because it's my own money, then the emotional trigger goes there. That's why I told you everything is based on that emotion, on that psychology, on that thing that you cannot explain. It's not logical. So from now on, I am deciding to involve a third party on those decisions. So for me to cut that emotion and to come back to the principle of, if I don't see a direct ROI, I'm not doing it, then I need to involve a third party that says, hey, Alejandra, if this doesn't have an ROI, then we cannot do it. Or we are deciding on not to do it until we see the direct ROI that is going to benefit and take decisions from there. My second one that comes from that emotional trigger is wanting to do everything at all times. And I am a mom. I am a person. I value highly value my alone time and my quiet time. And that's something that I didn't have in 2024. And for me to be able to create and to really be on the place that I can sit down and do this podcast, or I can sit down and plan what I want to do this podcast on, I need to value more of my time. Last year was an incredible year, but because I wanted to do everything at all times, I made the mistake of doing everything at all times. And it is not possible. And you will say, how that relates to a financial goal? Well, financially speaking, financial independence, my definition of financial independence is having time for myself, is having time to go and do my meditation and enjoy the sun and do the stuff that allows me to expand in my being. And I wasn't doing it last year. I was tired as fuck. So that was my mistake of doing everything all at all times.
Your secret word is wellness.
For this year, what we are doing is creating an agenda of what is reasonable and possible to do, considering the times that we have as a team. So I have a team of people that is supporting me to get to the goals that we want here on the Brand Wine to Money, formerly the Money Mindset Hub. Yes, we are changing, and you will see Brand Wine to Money everywhere, not just the podcast. It's the whole platform that is changing. But I have a team of people that is supporting me to do that. And last year, it was more like, this is everything I want to do. Let's do it, right? This year is going to be organized really to respect the definition of financial independence that I, as a business owner, have. Yes, we are going to arrive to the sales goals. Yes, we are going to arrive to the revenue profit goals. Yeah. But also, as part of my own financial wellness, we are going to do it in a way that allows me patience, allows me my quiet times, and doesn't overwhelm me to be there everywhere at all times. And the third thing that came out of that emotional triggers that I am transforming and infusing into 2025 is that I invested way more on my business than creating the buckets that I wanted to create for the business and for my personal life. So, you know, let's talk about emergency funds. Let's talk about investments. Let's talk about all of these buckets of money that I would like to have, that I know that you want to have. And I invested it more on my business because of the different circumstances that we were going in and the goals that we had and everything. When if I were more mindful in the past two things that I just shared, if I were more mindful on the spaciousness and if I were more mindful on being everywhere and all of these things, I could potentially would have said, you know what, I'm not going to invest in this. I am going to do that. I am the investor of my business. Like many of you, you are the investors of your business. You are the investor, you are the employee, you are the CEO, you are everything for your business. So sometimes it is difficult to take off the glasses of being an investor and putting the employees or being the owner and not the investor. But this is something that really, really impacts financial wellness and your life. I want to really be able this year to step up as the investor and say, this is the amount of money that I'm going to invest for the year on my business and be done with it. Just like an investor would do. Because after the investor will give you the money, you are off you go. You need to make it happen. That's exactly how I'm going to run my business this year. That didn't happen last year. And it should be that way. Again, when I manage other people's money, when I teach you how to do it, this is how it needs to be done. But the emotional trigger was there, so I couldn't see it. And I need to say that all of these three things are going to be possible for me because I already did what in the Brown framework we call remember but not relieve. I am talking very objectively about this after going through a process of clearing the financial trauma. My financial trauma with this was that I had never set the goal of $1 million sales. I had never put all of the effort, had put all of the aggressiveness, if you want to call it, to get to that goal with a business. I never scaled it to that point. So when I put that, all of the financial trauma that I carry, the generational financial trauma, because my mom had a lot of businesses that went broke, everything that came from that side, I had to clear. Everything that came with my own stories, the relationships and my family and the narratives, I had to clear. And now today, I'm talking to you with a very objective side of what needs to be done because I don't see it from this perspective today. I'm not seeing it as I should have done it differently because there is nothing that I should have done differently. I am seeing it as this is what happened. I'm not going to repeat it because of my principles of financial literacy. This is how you should be doing, or this is the best way that you can guide your money. And I'm just seeing it as if it was any other person. If you are going to apply it, this that I just shared today on this little podcast episode, for you, because it is important that you learn from the 2024 and create those financial intentions, goals, or whatever you want to call it in 2025 that actually work, then I strongly suggest you to see it from a third people perspective. I gave you an excellent exercise on the episode before today's. Apply that same exercise for today's episode. And to give you a practical tips on how to do this, you're gonna follow this. First, you're gonna identify what is the mistake? What is it that you wish that you could change from 2024? Why were your financial goals and what is it that you think that was my mistake? Identify that. Number two, see how there is no other way that couldn't or shouldn't have happened before. It had to happen. See it from that perspective. It's something, it comes up and you say, well, yeah, but I should have done better. I should have known better. I want you to come back to what you're going to listen to in the episode before and see it from a third person perspective. If that third person perspective says, yeah, you should have done better, well, find another third person perspective until you know that there is no way that you should have done better, because guess what? It is what it is. At this point, we cannot change anything. I cannot tell you, hey, go back to this morning and wear a different shirt. How am I going to do that? Tell me, how am I going to go back to this morning and wear a different shirt? It is not possible. And because it is not possible, that happened in 2024 with your money, it had to happen. Once you see it from that perspective, then it comes the third step. Third step is, how are you going to transform it? How are you going to make sure that what happened there that you didn't want to happen, or you are calling a mistake, is going to be transformed into 2025? What is the measurement that you're taking? Just like I shared with mine before.
Okay, did you hear something that you liked in today's episode? If so, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead right now. Yes, right now, before this episode ends, and send this episode to those 3 friends, 3 girlfriends that you know you can go to talk about finance, independence, money, business growth, entrepreneur life, and all of these juicy topics. Share this episode with them, because that is the only way we can grow together. I'm Alejandra Rojas, your host, and I will see you next week.
I'll see you in the next episode, where I'm going to be talking with some of the best financial people. We are going to talk about habits. So stay tuned.